All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Simple. Oh God, hold on, Jesus! I've got a hold on one second. I've got the window open in a different window, and I just got like a 20-second delay of the intro blowing into my ear. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Simply Cyber Firesides, the show where we get comfortable and have real conversations with the top minds in cybersecurity. And we got a GRC Mafia rep coming with us today. We're here to talk about the issues that matter, share a little wisdom, and hopefully ignite some new ideas, get the conversation flowing, and have a good time on top of all of that. And speaking of sparking a conversation, we've got a great guest with us today. Many of you already know him. He's not your typical GRC professional. He's a former Army captain and a Division I athlete who took an unconventional path to lead a revolution in the field. He is the Director of GRC Engineering, and that is not a typo. That's not a misspoken. That's not a misunderstanding, okay? It is GRC Engineering. The analysts have broken free and grabbed wrenches and become engineers. He's the Director of GRC Engineering at Aquia, or Aquia. I might be saying it wrong. I probably should have checked with him before I did this. And he's the host of the Cyber Takes podcast. And most importantly, which we're going to spend a lot of time talking about today, the author of the new best-selling book, GRC Engineering for AWS. He's actually on a book tour right now, coming in hot from Philly. So anybody out there who's into the roots, he's repping there. And if you're an Eagles fan, you might want to go find a different show. All right. He's all about challenging the status quo, moving beyond simple checklists, and using engineering and AI to truly transform compliance and governance and risk management. Now, before we jump in, a quick reminder to everybody in the live audience, this is a fireside chat, and that means we want your questions, your thoughts, your engagement. Drop them in the chat throughout the show. If you're new here, I pull your questions right up and throw them right at our guest. We do our best to make it an engaging, fun, and value-add experience for all of you. I'll try to get all your questions answered. Your engagement is actually what makes the show exactly what it is, that special experience. So without further ado, please drop your Oprah emotes to welcome our guest today, AJ Yan. AJ, where are you at? Let's go get him. Hello, AJ. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy to be here. This is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did OPSEC you a little bit, or dox you about being in Philly. You are on a book tour. How's do you like traveling? How's traveling treat you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I have a love and hate relationship with travel. I have two little kids that I love to be at home with, but I do love different cities. I'm very happy that I got to eat some Philly cheesesteaks while I'm here. So it's been cool. It's been cool, man. It's been a blessing, and to get out here and to see people that are super excited about GRC. It's awesome.
I know. Yeah. So AJ and I were talking in the green room before the show about how we're so happy that we can be like out and open about our affinity for GRC and how cool it is now. So if you are a part of the GRC Mafia, do drop that link in chat. I certainly am. So I'll drop that in there. Dude, so Philly cheesesteaks, let me ask you, I know that whenever they do the Monday Night Football from Philly, they always feature those different ones. Did you pick one? Were you directed which one to go to? Did it turn into a fight?
Yeah, so funny story. Last time I came to Philly one time, I had a layover. I landed at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I did a lot of research on my flight over, and I took an Uber to go get a Philly cheesesteak at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I asked my driver which one to go to, and he took me, I can't remember if it was Geno's or Pat's. I don't want anybody to go off on me. But this time I actually just was like at this hotel. I was like, I'm going to find one with good reviews near me. Went to this spot called Shay's, and then I asked a lot of the people from Philly last night if I made a good choice, and they were like, yes, that's the best Philly cheesesteak. And I was like, I thought it when I was eating it. I was like, this is amazing. But yeah, apparently Shay's is the one, and that's one that I had. It was, oh my gosh, it was amazing.
All right, we've already got some people chiming in here.
Yeah.
Michael Andruzzi's Pat's the best. Forget about Geno's. I like Shay's though. I feel like Shay's is where the locals eat, right? Maybe the Geno's thing is for the tourists.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I see that we have Fleetus has a birthday today. He said he's going to see me in Charlotte. So happy birthday, Fleetus.
Oh, is that right? Oh, cool. Yeah. Fleetus is great. I love it. And by the way, talking about cheesesteaks, now my mouth's watering. We should have asked that question at the end of the episode.
Right.
So, dude, in your book, so I mentioned it in the intro. AJ is on a book tour for his GRC Engineering and AWS book. You actually advocate for moving past audit theater. What do you mean by that? Like, what are you talking about? Is that like the kind of a first step in GRC engineering, or what do you mean get past audit theater?
Yeah, it's I feel like we've kind of lost the plot in compliance and audits where it's too much focus on just trying to prove something for a certification or an audit or whatever, and not actually trying to do what a control is designed for, which is to reduce risk, which is actually to like help us solve a problem.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times when we're grabbing screenshots, when we're asking for things from our technical resources or other folks within the organization without the understanding of the actual technical the tools or the technology that are being used, we are doing just audit theater. We're not actually getting the real information. And a lot of times the technical resources have to make a decision. Do I fight this dude and say like, this is actually, you're not asking for the right stuff. Like we don't even use EC2 instances. So I don't know why you're asking me for this. Or do I just give him what he wants so that I can go back to my, the other thing that I got to do. And to me, that's a risk. That's bad. We want them to be transparent with us, but because we're doing this audit theater and they know it, we know it, everybody knows it. They're just like, all right, whatever, man. Let's just check this box and move on so I can get back to my day job. And I think it is the first step in GRC engineering. You know, the first chapter of the book is first principles thinking for GRC, and it's all about like let's take a step back. Let's not just think about how we've always done things, but let's really distill it down to like what are we actually trying to protect? Why are we trying to protect it? What's the value of this? And then let's start thinking about all the activities that we're trying to do versus I think we have entered into this world where it's like, what do I need to prove for this thing?
Yeah.
How do I get the evidence? And it's like, no. The control is for a reason. It's to reduce risk. So yeah, I think if we can actually get back to the core of why we do this, then we get out of that audit theater world.
Oh yeah, and it's funny. Risky, which is funny. This person's user handle. Let me find this question. Is asking a good one here, AJ. And I was going to ask you about this because I
Yeah.
actually think that this has something to do with why we are conditioned to do like checkbox compliant. Like people think checkbox compliant and audit because the DoD kind of did this. So just recently, it was announced that the Department of War is going to have an update basically to the RMF, right? So instead of this kind of, snapshot every 3 years testing type stuff, it's going to be much more fluid. Have you looked at this yet? Okay. What are your thoughts on this? And just, can you kind of maybe 3 sentences set it up for people who have not read it yet?
Yeah. So it's exciting. I'll say that for one, that, we're seeing the initiatives of moving to more continuous controls monitoring, forcing people to get out of the annual manual kind of compliance steps. And the federal government is leading the way there with this new RMF. And then that's going to translate down to the FedRAMPs, the continuous authority to operate, all of these different things. But basically they're saying, hey, the old way of how we used to do RMF with the manual processes, SSPs that are manual is going away. We need to start moving towards compliance as code. We need to start moving to evaluating infrastructure as code. We need to start moving towards more of this continuous controls monitoring, which is exciting. I work at you mentioned in the beginning, I work at a company called Aquia, which is a government contract and professional services firm.
Thank you.
So yeah, no worries. I pronounced it wrong when I first joined too. And our Slack was going crazy this morning about this. But a lot of it was like, well, this is already CATO. And CATO, for those that don't know, is continuous authority to operate. So like if you're in a product in the federal government, a lot of times you have to get an authority to operate to continue. And we do a lot of work with agencies to help them get that. Essentially what they're describing is a real true continuous authority to operate, a continuous program that is being implemented across a lot of agencies today, which is kind of the funny part that this is coming out as like this new thing, because a lot of people are already adopting this stuff, but I think it's cool that we're formalizing it. There's also FedRAMP 20X efforts that match a lot of what you saw in this new RMF update as well. Compliance as code, infrastructure as code, moving to more dynamic SSPs, dynamic risk scoring. I ultimately think it's positive. I think it's going to be positive for the industry. I see that part of the question of, what are the pros and cons? I think it's going to be positive because we should get to more true assurance on a regular basis and not these annual kind of very manual, time-consuming, heavily resource-intensive activities. The cons are it's the federal government. So it's not going to go as fast, right, as people everything that they're describing here is going to take a very long time for folks to adapt or to adopt and start to do. So I think it's positive, and hopefully the commercial sector kind of matches that. But at the same time, I wouldn't get too excited because it is going to take a while.
Yeah, and just for everybody's, edification, because I saw this for the first time this like at lunchtime today. I was like, oh, okay. The pillars that they're suggesting is like 6 pillars, and it's everything you would think it is. It's like secure by design and not pushing something into production until it's been approved. Like on the surface, it does read well,
Right.
but like the budget cycles for FY28 is already like being submitted. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
so anyways, let's continue with GRC engineering. So break it down. Like, what is GRC engineering? How is it different? How is it innovative? You did mention a couple things as code. I'm sure that has to do with it. So break it down for the community here.
Yeah, I think it's very simply like if we think about DevSecOps over the last 10 years, right? And how that has truly shifted security left. We now have security living in the pipeline. We now have people thinking about security earlier on in the journey of developing things or building things. To me, GRC engineering is just shifting GRC left as well. It's allowing us to take everything that we know we need to do. So we know we need to do software development in a secure manner and following processes and procedures. Instead of saying from a GRC perspective, let me get the outcome of these activities, which is what we have typically done, is like, I'm going to get the outcome of our change process for evidence. Let's go get it. Let's go live in the pipeline. Let's go live where it's at. Let's go say, okay, I know you're doing SAS scans, DAS scans, container scans. I know that maps to these controls. I know that maps to CM3 and NIST or CC 8.0 and SOC 2. I'm going to just grab the data from where it is. I don't need to wait for an engineer to provide it to me. I'm going to use my Python skills. I'm going to use my CI/CD skills. I'm going to use my cloud skills to go get the information way closer to the data source, which then allows us to have more stronger assurance, have policies that actually reflect reality, because the GRC professionals are no longer translators. They actually understand that side, and they understand the compliance and governance and risk side of it too. So it's this hybrid kind of combining a lot of what's been already happening in the rest of security, a lot of the DevSecOps things that are going on, with what we know about GRC. We know our controls, we know how to evaluate a certain control, but GRC engineering is saying, okay, now let's apply some technical actual skills to going and getting this information and evaluating it continuously, and then producing, whatever it is, the artifacts that you need to produce, which to me is like the final piece. It's not the most important part. The most important part is, do I know if we're actually reducing risk in this process? And how do I know that? And am I able to get that information on a regular basis directly from the source? So yeah, I think security has shifted left. I think GRC got left behind. I think GRC engineering allows us to shift left as well.
So what are your thoughts around, because we work with a lot of people and help them get into GRC among, in other fields.
Yeah.
One of the draws of GRC is that it's less technical, right? So if you're pivoting from marketing or high school teacher, it feels like it's achievable. It feels like it's not a bridge too far. Now, I know, as you also know, there is like technical elements, but when you compare GRC to pen testing, clearly there's 2 different levels of technical prowess. What you're talking about, like you just said, like, get my Python skills. Like some people might be like, oh my God, like I was told I didn't need to know how to program. Do you think this shift, which I agree is good for risk reduction ultimately,
right?
Do you think that this shift, if it gets adopted mainstream, is going to have an impact on people and their ability to enter the field?
Yes and no. So I think, GRC has been the kind of poster child for break into cyber. You can be less technical to get in. And I think that has allowed GRC professionals to lean on, I don't have to be technical. I don't need to go learn how to code. I don't need to learn Python. I don't need to learn these things, right? Which I think has worked for a long time. I think for people that are now entering, I think having technical skills, not necessarily, I'm not saying to become the greatest Python engineer ever. I'm not saying to be AWS security specialty, but I am saying like to understand what an EC2 instance is, understand what a security group is, understand how IAM works in the cloud, right? And I think if you are breaking in and you have those technical skills, you're at a significant advantage. That's why I said yes or no. I think it is going to get harder and harder to enter without the skills, just in the nature of where we're going in the space with AI and automation. And every CEO, every board member is being told to do more with less, to save money, to figure out ways to do more with less. So I think it's going to be more challenging if you don't have more than just typical GRC knowledge. Not impossible, but more challenging. But I think on the flip side, if you are breaking in from another field and you come with some cloud knowledge and with a little bit of Python, you now have essentially jumped ahead of a lot of GRC professionals who have been fighting against this revolution of learning technical skills for a long time. So I think there's an opportunity for the non cyber folks that are breaking in, because you can stand out a lot faster, I think, than before. Because again, a lot of folks have not invested in these skills, and they've been in the profession for 5, 10, 15 years. So now I think it's an opportunity. That's why I say yes and no. I think it is going to be more challenging. I think one of the things I'm seeing is GRC engineering job descriptions pop up like every day, like a new one's popping up every day. And I think companies are starting to think like, I think I need someone who can do more than just pass this information back and forth between people. I want somebody that can get into the weeds and build some things, and doing some things is more important. So I do think it's going to be similar to how we saw with DevSecOps, right? DevSecOps came about, and a DevSecOps engineer would pop in, and no one really knew what that person did. It's like that person was kind of doing some magic, right? They were doing some things. And I think now you see almost every single software engineering role has a little bit of flavor of DevSecOps in there. You got to know some cloud, you got to know some CID. So I think that we're going to see the same thing with GRC, where it's going to be very difficult in the future to distinguish between a traditional GRC professional and a GRC engineer. I think there's going to be some baseline skills that are going to be expected of all GRC professionals to understand the environments that they're auditing. And these environments are only getting more technical, especially with AI and all this other stuff going on. Like, it's more data, more technical. So to do any of this work manually without those skills, very difficult, and you're probably not doing a great job. So I do think we're in this shift where we're going to see it more of a requirement, but I see it as an opportunity right now, a huge opportunity for people. If you invest in these skills, you can really carve out your own path.
Yeah, 100%. This is one of the reasons why I wanted AJ on, because this is a pretty big shift in the world of GRC, and it's been coming for a little while. But like, it's like if you were a system administrator and you like refuse to learn cloud, like you're left behind. Like, AJ, I don't know if you know this. I was a software engineer before I became,
Nice.
dyed in the wool cyber pro, and I was a developer before DevOps was a thing. So when I look at DevOps, I'm like, like I'm this old monolithic, old gray-haired guy. So anyways, AJ wrote this book, GRC Engineering, which is what we're talking about, because he's, an expert on it, frankly. And this is the website that I dropped a link on that he has. So, dude, I've written a book. It is very consuming, and I did use a publisher. That was a key difference between the two of us. And the publisher was, I won't write another one. Talk to us, because a lot of people romanticize about writing a book, but it's a massive undertaking, just like creating content for social media. Talk to us about like your experience writing this book. What inspired you to do it? What was the experience like?
Yeah, I've had this like desire to write a book for a long time. I just wanted to. I like writing. It's therapeutic for me. I journal a lot, so writing is something that comes natural for me. But the inspiration behind writing the book was really for the professionals, really for like the people in the chat, right? Like, I looked out and I saw there's not a ton of resources out there for, if I'm a GRC professional and I'm trying to figure out like how to do a technical lab, or if I'm trying to figure out how to do some Python stuff. And I knew that this GRC engineering thing was going to become a thing. And I wanted to create a guide, essentially, to help people say, where do I start with this GRC engineering thing? What is even this GRC engineering thing? And I mean, it's hard, man. I tell people, like, don't write a book unless you really like the subject, because
Yeah, right. Seriously.
it's long nights. Like, I mean, I was writing every single day, man, just all night, just grinding away in a Google Doc, writing, reading, and just reading it over and over again. And you start to kind of drive yourself a little crazy going through that process. Very difficult, but very rewarding. I think because I was writing about a subject I was passionate about, and I was writing kind of in this mindset, I was acting like I was writing to one person. And I was just trying to help this one person figure out these different things. And the way I wrote the book is I broke it down into 4 sections. There's a GRC Engineering 101 section, there's an AWS section, there's a Python section, and then there's a career section. So I was able to really focus on those each individual sections when I was writing it, which was cool and allowed me to dive deep. But yeah, it was all about trying to help the profession. I felt like when I started my company back in 2020, it was kind of built on these GRC engineering principles. I hired some folks and I called them GRC engineers before this was a thing. And then as I was post in my company, looking out at the landscape and realizing that, oh yeah, well, there's a shift happening. I figured we needed a resource. We needed a resource out here, and it's been, the feedback has been awesome because it's something that my whole goal was to have an impact. I wanted one person to be impacted from this, and fortunately, a lot of folks have been able to have an impact from it.
It's awesome. I'm dropping links to the book in chat right now. If you'd like to go check it out, it's AJ Yon's the author. He's also our guest today on Simply Cyber Firesides. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it, dude. All right, so let's talk about this for a minute, okay? AI. Yeah. Like let's just get the AI conversation out of the way. You talk about leveraging intelligence systems to make life easier for auditors and companies alike, right? So how do you see AI fundamentally changing the role of GRC specifically in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of bullish on it. I kind of have an optimistic view, and my view is that AI is going to allow us to get back to what I love about GRC, which is the relationship building. I love in GRC that I get to talk to everybody in the organization. It's not just I'm siloed in this one corner, but I think in the world that we live in, because there's so much data, a lot of GRC professionals are not getting an opportunity to build those relationships because they're spending all of their time going and collecting this information and then having to transform it, figure out how to communicate it. Where I think AI is going to help us get rid of a lot of those mundane tasks and allow us to do more with the data we're gathering and communicate that better, which allows us to get back to those relationships and have true advisory conversations. Say, hey man, yeah, we got this evidence. Yeah, we're doing this, but let's have a conversation about how you're going about this so we can really dial this in and improve. And I'll give an example of that. I'm doing a project right now for a large government agency. And I mean, it's a lot of data across 100 plus AWS accounts. We're running reports all the time. We feed a lot of this data into Amazon Bedrock, which is their AI service for folks that don't know. And then it spits out these natural language emails for different stakeholders, ISSOs, technical leads, et cetera. If I tried to do that manually, I wouldn't even have time to be on this show right now. I would still be writing it, right? Because it's so much data. So I think the thing that I see right there in and of itself with AI is it's allowing me to communicate to far more people about far more pieces of data. And then because I can feed, Bedrock information from 30 days of Security Hub findings across 100 accounts, it can find the trends. It can figure out and say, hey, we need to focus on IAM. We need to focus on this because we're having some issues. And again, trying to do that manually, it's a needle in a haystack, very difficult. So I think AI allows us to now, I can look at that and say, okay, great, let me go talk to this ISSO to have a deeper conversation versus spending all of my time collecting this. So, obviously AI is shifting. I think I saw a comment in there of is some of this because of companies are trying to get fewer professionals, and obviously that's happening with AI. We can't lie about that. CEOs are being told to do more with less. They're being told to make more money with less people. However, I think if you're a GRC professional and you harness the power of AI, you become supercharged, because a lot of our job is taking a ton of data, lots of information, and making it make sense, not just for one stakeholder, for multiple stakeholders, your external auditors, your internal auditors, your CISOs, all these different people. And AI can definitely help you do that significantly faster and more efficient.
Well, we have a lot of people trying to get in the field or have, we're excited that we can celebrate some people who have gotten jobs recently in the field. What specific AI skill or tool would you, suggest people focus on that are kind of junior or, just kind of nascent with the AI tools?
Yeah, I would say, one, I mean, these tools are pretty awesome right now, man. They're really good. I don't think people understand how good some of these tools are. Pick one. You don't need to have every app, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever makes the most sense for you. But then at the same time, I think there's a lot of these AI powered IDEs. And there's a lot of talk about vibe coding nowadays and all of that. I think that if I'm a GRC professional, junior GRC professional, I'm trying to get into this, I'm trying to learn some technical skills, I'm trying to do something, use these tools to learn. Like the best thing you can do is ask these tools dumb questions that you're scared to ask a person or you're scared to ask someone. Like use these tools to go deeper. I saw somebody in there say like have Claude or somebody create you a study plan and just go through that. Like I think the power of using these tools to say, hey, I don't understand this Python script that I found on AJ's GitHub. Can you explain it to me like I'm 5? Can you put comments on every single line of code to tell me exactly what's going on here? And then I can just go and rewrite that real quick. You do that 10, 15, 20 times. Over time, your brain's going to start to pattern match. But again, I think the power of these tools, asking dumb questions. You get to ask the dumbest questions. You get to ask the most silly questions. You get to say, I'm confused and be free. No one's going to see this. I ask dumb questions all the time of AI because I'm trying to get information. I think that's the thing that I'm so excited about this era. I feel like we're living in the best time ever because I don't feel like there's anything I can't learn. One of my new like learning hacks is I'll take like a new service or new white paper or something from AWS. I'll download it. I'll put it in Google Notebook LLM, turn it into like a 15 to 20 minute podcast. And then I'll go on a run or a walk and I'll listen to essentially a back and forth podcast that's AI generated in like 2 minutes of this new technology. And after my walk, I'm like, I think I got it. I think I can go start tinkering with this. And it's like the ability to learn right now is so much faster with these tools. So I would say, don't try to like jump in and say this AI tool is going to do my job for me. It's not going to happen. Like you still got to know what you're doing. These tools are great, but you still, even for coding, like you can do things, but you still got to know what you're doing to actually make it happen. But I think from a learning perspective, like use it to learn, use it to ask them questions, use it to go deep into topics that you normally wouldn't go deep in, use it to build things that you normally think you couldn't build. I think I heard something a while ago, Gerald, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well, that somebody was like, the reason why a lot of these companies are, I think there's an MIT report that said 95% of AI pilots are failing or something like that. I don't know if I believe that, but anyways, it came out, right? I think a lot of them are failing because they're looking for AI use cases. And somebody was like, when electricity came out, we weren't looking for electricity use cases. Like it's just ubiquitous. You plug something in and it works because we have electricity. And it's just, and I think we have to think about AI the same way of like, it's just there and we're going to be using it. We're going to be using it in a lot of companies. If you go to companies' pages, everybody's an AI powered something now, whether that's true or not, right? So I think it's like, don't think about a use case. Don't think about how is AI going to help me with GRC. Just start using it for whatever it is, like planning a workout, planning a meal. Just start using these tools so that you get comfortable asking the questions, because the most important skill in the future of this future AI world is communication. Mm-hmm. It's Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, said that he's telling his kids not to major in computer science, but to major in English, because the most important thing of the future is knowing how to communicate. And I think that's a piece that requires trying. Like you just got to use the tools to do it. You can't come into it like, I'm going to use this tool for this specific thing. Too narrow. Just take a step back and just start using it, start learning, start asking questions.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Normally I want my guests to do all the talking, right? But you did ask me.
Yeah.
So I do think two things. And just if you're joining us a little late, we are having more and more people come in. We're talking with AJ Yon, Director of GRC Engineering and author of GRC Engineering for AWS. I've got a pinned comment on YouTube chat right now that you can go to check out this book. It's phenomenal. We do have some questions in the from the community that I will ask AJ in just a minute. But to his point about, 95% of these AI companies failing, is that true? Whatever. I think there's a couple things happening here. One, I believe that, like AI is allowing people to accelerate so fast. And okay, so bear with me. Okay, everybody. I believe that because it's a perfect storm, because AI is accelerating everything so fast. It's like a generational technology, the way internet was, and people ran to register every website, and people buy markcubansradio.com. Yahoo buys markcubansradio.com and makes him an overnight, billionaire. So the problem is it's a perfect storm right now because currently AI is so disruptive, and this isn't a politics show at all, but currently the current economic situation in the United States with tariffs and the interest rates and the Fed and all these, there's a lot of things right now that are causing people with money, VCs with money, to be very uncertain about how to invest in stuff. but AI is so delicious that it's getting all of the focus of the investment versus a little bit more distributed in a normal market. So I think for those reasons, you're getting tons of basically spaghetti getting thrown at the wall. And what's end up happening is businesses want to get money. They want to, be a unicorn, and they're trying to invent solutions for things that don't have problems yet. And I think that that's what's happening, because they're just like, oh, we can make it do this. Like I always see the meme, like, just because we could do it, like the Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park, like we never stopped to think, should we? So I think that that's what's happening. I could see 95% failing, honestly. But I think it's a lot of like small, minute funded or bootstrap businesses that start up, and then immediately they can't sell anything because they're not solving a problem. They just have a solution. So those are my thoughts to that question, AJ. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So we've got some questions in chat. One quick hitter about your book. Will a digital version be available soon?
Yeah, actually, I'll send Gerald a link. I have an ebook version on Gumroad that people can pick up. So I'll drop that here shortly. And
just drop. There's a private chat. You drop it there. I'll bring it over. Okay, so we'll get. Hey, so Ms. Burgess, you ask, you shall receive near instantaneous. Roswell UK says, it's GRC engineering for AWS. Azure has a massive footprint, right? Because Microsoft's a monopoly. That's why people are using Teams. By the way, I loathe Teams, but
me too.
Why did you choose AWS over Azure?
Because of what I knew. Simply was that I built my career on AWS. I learned a ton about AWS. I got all the AWS certs, and I knew a ton about AWS. And I wouldn't encourage anyone to write a book unless they really know what they're talking about. And I know Azure, but not as well as I know AWS. But I will say I have a buddy who knows Azure very well, and another buddy who knows GCP very well. And we're talking and getting ready to put together a GRC engineering for Azure, GRC engineering for GCP version. The interesting thing, like I mentioned before, like the book says GRC engineering for AWS. Only section 2 is about AWS. Section 3 is about Python. And yes, we talk about the AWS libraries and how to interact with AWS, but a lot of the concepts, it's Python concepts. It's knowing Python. Section 1 is all about just GRC engineering 101. And then the last section is about career. So even if you're in an Azure shop, I tell people all the time, like the book will be helpful. And a lot of the services that I talk about on in the book, there's a one-to-one match on Azure, a one-to-one match to those services. So it's just a matter of learning the terminology and how to interact with it from an API perspective, which again, like I was like, I'm gonna write about what I know.
We're talking with AJ Yan, Director of GRC Engineering and author of this GRC Engineering for AWS book. Now, Ms. Burgess asked, is it a digital version? The answer is yes. I just dropped a link in chat. You can pull this right now, digital ebook, and start consuming it immediately. You do not have to wait for Prime delivery to drop it off. You don't have to worry about a porch pirate stealing it. You can be warmed up with this thing before this interview ends. So thank you for making that accessible. I'm a big advocate, AJ, of support, inclusion, and empowerment. So definitely appreciate you having this in different forms for people. Some more questions rolling through chat right now. And by the way, thank you, community, for being so engaged and asking wonderful questions and driving this conversation. Going back to earlier where we talked about getting into GRC going forward, you're going to want to lean into some of this technical skill sets. Jason over on LinkedIn says, so if you have a tech background and want to move into cyber GRC, is this where, if you want to move into cyber, is GRC where you would look?
I mean, I think folks with a technical background, and I always cringe when I say this because I'm like, I don't want the GRC professionals to get pushed out. But folks with technical backgrounds that are looking over at GRC, you're in a great spot because you already know a lot of the stuff that I'm probably talking about. And I'll give you an example. Gerald, I was in Denver at Forward CloudSec and did a GRC engineering talk there. It was actually the day that my book launched. Just kind of worked out timing wise. And after my talk, I got like 4 or 5 people came up to me that were either a cloud security engineer, a DevOps engineer, or a security engineer, and they were like, AJ, I think I do that GRC engineering thing already. I think it's just I don't call it that. That's my first time hearing that name, but like, should I start going? And I'm like, honestly, like, yeah, like you are very qualified to do this, because if I put my founder hat back on, it'd be a lot harder for me to teach someone who only knows GRC, Python in the cloud, than to teach someone who knows Python in the cloud already, GRC. Like the learning curve and the kind of transition is going to be significantly different. So yeah, it's I would say look to where you would like, like, you know, whatever you are interested in. But I do think people with technical background have a significant advantage on the getting into GRC, because they're bringing skills that are just, you know, kind of unicornish in today's world. I think we only have about 2 more years where you're a unicorn with these technical skills. I think we're going to kind of balance out pretty soon that 50%, 60% of people will have some of these skills. But right now, you can, you know, be in a good opportunity.
Ede Soji over on LinkedIn says, AJ, does your book teach GRC folks about AWS as far as GRC engineering is concerned for those who are not very technical?
Yeah, one of the best pieces of feedback I've been getting are that people are saying how approachable the book is and how easy it is to kind of understand some of these deeper technical concepts. What I would say is that if you're not very technical, don't expect to read my book and then come out of it as a new technical person. That's not going to happen. It's going to take you to do some things. A lot of what I talk about in the book, you got to go get your hands dirty. But I was hoping to make people curious enough and give them enough knowledge to go be dangerous and start to do stuff. So yes, if you're not very technical, you'll be able to follow along and understand. I think, you know, there is that natural, like you were saying, Gerald, earlier, like I said Python and some GRC professors like, no, I don't want. So like, there is going to be a little bit of that. I would say if you're not technical, you're going to get in there and say, oh, whoa, he's getting into it here. He's going deep. Just stay with me. Just keep going through. Like it's you, as with anything, man. I've been there. Gerald's been there. He's been on the technical side. Like when you're learning something new, you learn these new technologies, like it's difficult. Like you're a little confused. That's a part of it. That's a feature, not a bug. Being confused when you're learning something technical is a part of the process. So yeah, I think it's approachable, but I'm not saying that to say like you're not going to read it and be like, oh man, I gotta go learn something. Yeah, you're gonna have to go learn.
Imagine that. And I'll tell you, just as a pro tip or whatever, like, you know, my strategy, for a book like this, okay, and we're talking with AJ Yon, author of GRC Engineering for AWS. For a book like that, I actually will read it twice. So like I'll read it once without trying to consume the knowledge. Like just get exposed to it, right? And I know it's very time consuming to read a book twice, but I'll read it once. That way I have a framework in my mind of like, what's the extent of this book? And I'll know where like I was strong and where I was weak and everything. And then when I reread it, I'll actually take time and dig down and go further into certain areas. And maybe, you know, oh, he mentions a resource here. I'll go look at it because I've already read the book, right? So it's not like I'm in the middle of a book and I'm like branching out and then I'm never going to finish this book, right? Because I mean, how many books have you started you never finished because you're like,
right.
So just for the, no one's ever really asked me that on stream before, but that's a technique that I use. Like James Patterson book on an airplane. I'm not reading twice, but like, you know, a skill type book, a tech book like that for sure. Roswell UK wants to know, he hasn't really touched Git, right? Should he? Does he need to? Every time he wants to learn something, it pushes something out of my head. So he's got a shot glass of a brain and a gallon of information being dumped in it. Does he need to focus on Git?
I'll say yes. Before I say that, I want to say hi to Alex and Nadia, my son and daughter who are watching.
Cool.
They're there. So hi, Alex and Nadia. Love you and see you tomorrow when I get back home. Yes, you need to learn Git. And for a variety of reasons, I would say the most important is because that's where your software engineers are working. And understanding the tools that they're using is so important as a GRC engineer. And then also version control for your code. Like without that, it's very difficult. If you think about things like infrastructure as code, one of the benefits of that is that you have it in a version control repository and you can see what changes are being made, who made the changes. You can put it through some kind of linting and security checks to make sure that it's hitting all the right points. So yeah, and I would say, you know, I was talking to somebody the other day, a GRC professional. I sent them a link to my GitHub and they said, oh my God, GitHub, I can't open that. I'm scared. And I'm like, one of the things that I just want GRC professionals to do is just like, understand, I get it. I was there. I get it. Like I get the natural apprehension to some of this stuff. They're not as bad as you think. You can do it. You can learn it. If you can learn how to use Excel and write all these fancy macros and the formulas, you can learn Git. You can learn all these other things. It's just another tool. But yeah, I would say you should be learning Git for sure.
Yes, if you self-identify as like a pivot table master, you can do this. Okay, you're
You got
good.
it. Yep.
Getaway Clean says, what do they say? They're currently studying Oracle AI foundations, wanting to know, should they dive into Oracle Cloud, or is AWS what you're seeing be used more? I mean, you're obviously an AWS expert, so you're
Yeah.
working on those projects. But what are you seeing kind of across the market?
Yeah, I mean, AWS has a lot of market share, but Azure has significantly caught up over the last few years, especially in the DoD, and a lot of companies are multi-cloud. Oracle just signed that really big $300 billion deal, I believe, with OpenAI, and OpenAI is going to be building a lot there. So I think there's going to be some opportunities, and I know Oracle has released a whole bunch of certifications lately for free, and a lot of people are picking those up. I think I always advise people pick a cloud provider. Just pick one and go deep on it and learn it. I think it's very difficult to try to be a master of AWS, Azure, Oracle, etc. Like just pick one, go deep on it, go all in. Look at the jobs that you're hoping to get. Look at the companies that you're hoping to work for and go find out where they're hosted. And if you see a common thread, like, oh, wow, the top 10 companies I want to work for, all on AWS. Every job description mentions AWS, or every job description mentions Azure. That's probably the cloud provider for you. Like the way that I chose AWS, I was working at Coalfire Systems as a junior auditor, and 95% of our clients were hosted on AWS. And I realized that we didn't know a ton about AWS on our team. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go learn this stuff because I'm seeing it every single day. So I think kind of like think about the ecosystem you're in. What are you going to be around? If you're working in the DoD space, are you going to see mainly Azure, or are you going to see an Azure and AWS, right? Like, and then go there. I think a lot of times people pick these things based off of advice from people like me or you and saying like, hey, this cloud provider is the best. I think it depends on you and your career. Like what companies do you want to work for and where are they hosted? Or if you're on the consulting side, do most of, talk to your people. Most of our clients are hosted in AWS or Azure. Okay, let me go learn that cloud a little bit more to become that valuable resource. So yeah, figure out one of the best pieces of intel you can ever do as a job seeker is look at the job descriptions. They tell you what technologies they're using. They tell you what technologies they care about, what skills. So go find, like I tell my mentees this all the time. 10 companies that you want to work with, go look at 10 different job descriptions and you are going to find a common theme. You're going to find the common technology that you should probably learn or maybe refresh up on before you start applying for those.
Love it. So yeah, and quick shout out, Sierra Montgomery, kiddo shout out, Team SC. Yeah, I have young children's too, and they'll pop up in chat, or sometimes they'll accidentally come into the studio while I'm streaming. So I definitely love that, and I'm glad that you got to say hi to the kiddos.
Yep.
So let's talk about a little bit about, I guess people first approach, right? So you've built a culture first company and mental health advocate, right? How does a focus on mental health and people first culture, how do you see it impacting security posture and the effectiveness of GRC in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think my viewpoint is that nothing else matters from a technical perspective or what we do unless people are right up here between their eyes. And I think a lot of times, especially in cybersecurity, we focus too much on all the other stuff and forget there is a human element, both on our side, on the cyber side, but also on the other side. The people that we're trying to help protect, the people that are clicking the phishing links, the people that are doing all these things. Like there is a human aspect to this that to me often gets forgotten, and which is why I constantly want to elevate that conversation, especially amongst men, around how it's okay to have some mental health challenges. It's okay to not be okay. And I mean, I think it's less about how it ties. I mean, I think a lot of my desire and passion about mental health came from the grind of being in this profession and just kind of working and not realizing that I need to be a human. I need to take a break, and then being a founder and going all in on that and like understanding that there's way more to life than all of this stuff. I think it's so important that we always remember that we're humans at the end of the day, humans that crave community, humans that crave connection, humans that need breaks, that we're not machines. we can't just sit in front of computers all day and do our job. So to me, I hope embracing things like GRC engineering, where we get back to more human activities and get rid of some of the mundane, gives us some time back. Gives us some time back to be ourselves, to be professionals, and to really be human. Just be human. And it's so important to me. I'm glad you asked this question, because I don't think I actually get to talk about it as much lately that I used to about mental health. But it is something that is so important to me. It's important to me because I struggle with mental health. It's
Mhm.
important to me because I've had my own battles and I still have battles, right? And I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still healing from a lot of things. And I think it's okay. And I want people to know that it's okay. Like, even if you can see me with all, whatever success you may think I have, I'm still a human. I'm still a
Yeah.
regular person that has these. And I think if we all can remember that, especially in our dealings, I think a lot of times in GRC we call people we engage with stakeholders, and I hate that term. Those are people.
Yeah.
There are people that have needs, that have jobs, that have families, and they have something else that they need to do for their job other than get evidence for us, other than do our stuff. And I think sometimes we take ourselves too seriously and forget that there is a life outside of this. So I just encourage everybody, especially in this Zoom culture that we're in, take time when you start a call to ask somebody how they're doing. When you get off a call, take time to take a break away from your computer if you can for 5 minutes. Just take breaks and remember that what matters most is what's up here, between your two eyes, and what's up in your head. And also, it's okay to be not okay.
There you go. And really quick, Wade Wells, longtime member, letting the community know that I guess I'm good here. Like, you can just take over, AJ. So congratulations, the mob has spoken. So I mean, well, I agree with you. Number one, I'm a huge fan. Like, AJ and I were talking, and many of you already know this from the community, but AJ and I were talking before the stream started about how openly being cool with GRC is like a relatively new phenomenon. Like 5 years ago, it was not. It was not. And a lot of the technical people still dunk on GRC, but like, at least we're out there, we're open, and there's like a conversation. I feel the same way with mental health. AJ, I'm not going to make any assumptions about what your
Yeah.
age is, but coming up, dude, if you like had mental health problems, you would just not say anything. You would just push it down and get back to work, because you're not going to be that person. And now the conversation has changed. It's much more open, much more mainstream. There are resources available.
Right.
People talk about it. So I just curious, like, what's your technique, or what do you do to kind of like, like relax, like decompress, sometimes is the right word.
Yeah, great question. I have a lot. I have a lot that I do, and a lot of it's just because I have to. Right. I'm 37, so I'm getting up there. It's sounding really important. The age. I don't like how important my age is sounding. But yeah, I grew up in that era where you couldn't share. But I mean, I meditate. I meditate often. I journal a lot. I try to be very strict with my phone. I try not to go to sleep on my phone, and try not to look at my phone when I wake up either, and give my brain the opportunity to wind down, and then give my brain the opportunity to warm up in the morning before I get inundated with millions of data points of information.
Mhm.
Um, and then, I spend I'm fortunate to live in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I spend a lot of time outdoors. I spend a lot of time by the beach, spend a lot of time in the sun, and just really focus on when I'm taking a break, I take a break. I don't, and I have no notifications on my phone. People are always like, "Why do you have me on Do Not Disturb?" I'm like, "It's not you. My phone's on Do Not Disturb at all
Yeah.
times." Like, I just don't want the constant notification life cycle, and I think that puts us in this constant anxiety state too. So yeah, I think it's all about, for me, finding moments of space to do nothing. Finding moments of space to just, I do what I call sometimes meditation walks, where I go on a walk with no technology, no phone, no headphones, no nothing, and I just walk and let my thoughts go. And I solve a lot of cool problems. I solve a lot of cool problems when I'm on those walks. But yeah, it's a lot of it is just, I see somebody in here who looks like I see CSM retired, which I was raised by a non-commissioned officer, Marine officer. So I was raised in that mindset of suck it up and drive on. And then I was in the Army as well as a captain in the U.S. Army. So I kind of came from that mindset, and I think that's part of why I'm so passionate about it and talking about it, because I think that mindset has, it's real. It's how a lot of folks think, and we can really shift that narrative by telling people like, "Hey, it's okay, it's okay." But I think, yeah, take breaks. Take breaks. Justin says, "What's Do Not Disturb on your iPhone?" There's a little setting that you
Oh,
can
no,
put.
yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
think he's
he's
playing.
being
He's
funny.
playing. Yeah. Like he needs to do that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. So, Whiskey Audist, thanks for the squad membership, dude. Enjoy the emotes. So you obviously are selling GRC engineering as
Right.
like the new wave. Like everybody wants to be AJ Yon when they grow up. Okay. So what's the on ramp? I mean, do you start with GRC engineering do you like grow into it? Looking for some kind of like early to mid career guidance here.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two parts, right? Like you can grow into it. You can be a GRC analyst. I know somebody who's a GRC analyst right now who are now getting GRC engineering opportunities in their organization. They're not being called a GRC engineer. They're like, hey, like, yeah, we like what you're talking about. Go do it. Go try it out. Go give it a shot. So I think you can do that. You can get into an IT audit role or a GRC analyst role or a consultant role, and then take and some initiative to go for it, right? To go after some of the stuff. I do think there are a lot of GRC engineering roles popping up. The job descriptions look kind of wild because they're just throwing spaghetti at a wall and putting everything on there. I saw one the other day with C++ on there. I'm like, what? You want a GRC engineering and no C++ for what? But whatever. Like, so I think there's opportunities to slide into that GRC engineering aspect, even as a mid-career person. One of the things I talk about a lot is building portfolios for GRC engineers and making sure that you have a way to showcase your actual skills beyond your resume. And the reason why I thought about this is it's an interesting concept. When I was a founder, I hired a UI UX designer and a few software engineers that came from boot camps. And I was trying to think back, like, how did they break into that field that's a highly technical field without any education and any experience? And it was because the UI UX designer, I looked at her portfolio and said, oh my God, this is talent. There's talent there. Like, regardless of what your background is, I can see the talent. Same with the software engineers. So I think with GRC engineering, because it's still not being defined, if you go out and build a portfolio to showcase these skills, you can actually jump into some of these roles that are popping up because the companies don't really know what they want. They know they kind of need this hybrid person, but they don't really know what it's supposed to look like. So I think there's an opportunity to go straight in. But you can also, I would say, there's opportunities right now in organizations, if you're in a GRC role or even not a GRC role, to go and try to implement some of the GRC engineering stuff I talk about because people are open to it now. And then you have an opportunity to kind of carve your own path within the organization.
Do you have any resources on helping people with portfolios?
Yeah. If you want to pull back up the landing page for the book, I'll show you.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I had my portfolio resource up in case you didn't have one. Okay, here we go. Check it out. AJ's about to drop knowledge on you. Here we go.
Yeah, if you click on the book kind of tab up there in the top right, and then
top right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, down in articles.
Okay.
And then did it go?
It's supposed to. There it goes.
There we go.
And there you go. Yep. That's pretty clear.
Yep. So there's actually if you go down all the way to the bottom, there's an initial article there, Build Your Portfolio, a hands-on guide for GRC engineers. I have a bunch of templates on GitHub for some of this. I explained why I like AWS. It's just because, but there's a lot of kind of templates, some ways that you can put it together. So yeah, I think, and I mean, honestly, I think there's a lot of different ways you can build a portfolio, right? Some people, you can do it via website, you can do it via GitHub pages. The key to me is showcase what you know. Showcase your skill, showcase how you think. That's the thing about a lot of this technical stuff. It's not about you doing something in exact way. I don't care how you write, you write a Python script to extract encryption status or whatever. Like, I don't really care about how exactly you did it. I probably would write the code a little differently. What I want to know is how you think. And I could see that through a portfolio. I even told my HR folks today that when we're hiring roles, if they see a resume with projects on it, put that person at the top of the list. Because a lot of the resumes these days, because of AI, I mean, it's they all look the same. Mm-hmm. They all look the same. So it's very tough to stand out. So if you have projects, man, you're standing out, and I want to talk to you. I want to talk to that person. So yeah, I think building a portfolio is huge, man. And I'm glad that you have resources too, because I think more people that can that champion in this aspect of build something and showcase your skills, the better we'll be.
Okay, only because he said it, people. All right, I'm not pumping my own tires. This is that YouTube video that I made on building a GRC portfolio. Nice. I'll drop a link to that in chat. But I did drop a link to your blog post for the GRC portfolio on your website, so people can definitely use that. We've been talking with AJ Yon, Director of GRC Engineering, the new book, GRC Engineering for AWS, the new book out. He's on a book tour right now, so we got lucky to score him in a hotel room on travel in between Philly cheesesteaks. So, dude, AJ, you do a lot, right? You make a lot of content. You help a lot of people. We've got a few minutes left, so we got time. We can kind of go into these things. But like, obviously, you wrote a book. But like, what other content? I mean, you've done podcasts. Where can people get some more AJ? How can they engage with you? Because you're inspiring a lot of people right now who are watching this.
Yeah, so I actually recently launched a Patreon community called the GRC Engineering Book Club, and it kind of spun out of a couple of my buddies wanted to do a book club for my book, and I wanted to figure out a way to give back, and it's turned into this amazing thing, man. We got like over almost 200 there. Yep, there you go. How many members do we got? 178 members right now. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is awesome, man. It's been cool. So there's a bunch of labs in there. There's some exclusive interviews. You can see there. I had an interview with my buddy Jared Beeson, CISO at Waste Management. There's like I said, a lot of labs walkthroughs. I do live Q&As. I'll actually be doing a live Q&A on the Patreon next week on Tuesday. We have a bunch of moderators in there as well that are existing professionals that are helping out others, and the DMs are crazy in there. So I answer all the DMs in the Slack community as well. So that's probably the best place. That right there is probably the thing that I'm super excited about, that I want more and more people to take. I was able to take my brand from, I see Marcus in here who's in the club. He said GRC Engineering Club, stand up. He's in the club as well. So if you guys want to know what it's like, ask Marcus. But I built my brand out of necessity because I started my company during COVID and there was no way for me to talk to customers in person. So I had to build a brand on LinkedIn. This course gives away all my tricks. Everything that I did to grow my brand, and all the tips and tricks, some example posts, I give it away here in the Patreon. It's a 8-module brand builder course, which is great. But yeah, it's an awesome spot. I'm dropping labs regularly, walking through labs, doing live mentorship recordings, resume workshops, etc. And really the most important piece, and somebody said this the other day, they said the most important piece of the community is the community. It's people that are in there helping each other, not me. Like it happened the other day, somebody asked a question, and I think it might have been Marcus and a few others just started giving this person advice. And I'm like, hell yeah, this is what it's about. This is what I started this for, because I wanted a place for people to help each other. And I wanted the ability, I can't answer every LinkedIn DM. My DMs are crazy. I think today I had like 47 DMs, and like, I'm going to miss every single one of them. I'm just going to select, read them all. So I hate notifications, so I'm going to get rid of them. But in Slack, I'm able to kind of be more guided and tailored, and I can have some more intimate conversations with folks. So yeah, that's another place. But I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. I got to get you, Gerald, on Cyber Takes and get you have a hot take on there.
I do get spicy from time to time. If it's like RDP open to the internet, that's one that will get me frothed up. No MFA on like a gross breach, like 23andMe, like that thing, and then like whoever's running crisis for them, like blaming the customers for having weak passwords. That's just
right.
It's brutal. Yep. It's brutal. Yeah, man. All right, so we got a couple minutes here. We're going to run through AJ Yan right now because he covered a whole bunch of stuff. GRC engineering. If you are working in GRC or you want to work in GRC, hold on, there's a lot of AJ there. There we go. If you want to work in GRC, now you've got about a 2-year head start before the minimum expectations is that you have some technical acumen and the ability to implement it in kind of a DevOps environment, be able to go left and get evidence that isn't a screenshot, but it is like, the builds or, even build up. I don't even know if they're doing this, AJ, but like building up like instances in like almost like audit environments that are fraud. I could imagine that being a thing.
Yep.
Right. So you got 2 years, get on top of it. How do you do it? Well, you got a bunch of options here. AJ's got this GRC engineering club that's basically all about GRC engineering all day, every day. He's got his book. This is a digital ebook version. He just released this. He's actually on a book tour right now, GRC engineering for AWS. He did point out in the book in this interview that if you're not working in AWS, you can still get value from this book. Only 1/4 of this book is really AWS specific. 3/4 of it is going to give you value for GRC engineering. So don't think that it's not for you. Obviously, you can pick it up on Amazon right now. It is very reasonably priced considering the amount of knowledge that he's put in it. And then he's got his blog here that I dropped a link to. So guys, if you're into GRC or you've been flirting with GRC, you've been working in a SOC, maybe you're a detection engineer, working for a company and you live in San Diego and you've been like, I really, really wish I could work in GRC. What's my on-ramp? GRC engineering could be for you. AJ, I feel like I covered all the things. Any final thoughts for the community before we boogie out of here?
Yeah, no, that was awesome, man. I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate you being here. The only thing I'll add, I have my little cool bookmark here that has
Oh,
all
all
these
right.
cities. So let me, I'm going to Charlotte next, then Boston, Dallas, Orlando. I saw a few people in here say they're going to see me in Orlando. I think Fleetus is going to see me in Charlotte. I'll be at ISC Squared Congress in Nashville for an event, Houston, going across the pond to London, and then finishing up in Jacksonville. So if you're in any of those cities or anywhere near there, I would love to meet in person. These meetups have been amazing. The energy around GRC is so exciting right now. It's so cool. And I feel fortunate to be a part of it. But yeah, thanks again, Jerry. This has been awesome, man. This has been a very cool experience. Like we were saying, it's wild that this is the first time we've done this. We've kind of been around each other for a while. So this is awesome. I appreciate you having me, and I'm really proud of what you built here.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, and I appreciate all you've done for the community. I'm a big advocate of people helping people, so you're clearly doing that. We got some questions here. When in Dallas? I want to.
October 21st.
October 21st. Where can they find the schedule? So someone
Yeah,
watching on
let me drop
replay might be like, "Oh, I can't ask my question here."
Yep, let me drop that here for you right now. I'll drop the link, and I would say, go ahead and start registering. These events have been getting sold out. So go ahead and register. Ping me if you have any issues registering. But yeah, they go to that website. You'll see all of the dates. You'll see some of the pictures from the past
sold
events
out?
as well.
Sold
Yeah.
out, dude. One night only. AJ Yon. Like,
insane. It's truly insane, man. It's been surreal. It's been so surreal, and I'm so grateful to the community for pulling up.
I love it. I just dropped that link in chat. You guys can see it. This is what it looks like, just so we are all on the same page. If you're watching on replay, this is what it'll look like if you are watching. All right, guys. We've been joined by AJ Yon, just absolutely crushing it like a bunch of GRC bosses. Director of GRC Engineering, wrote a book, crushing it, obviously doing a book tour, international book tour. It's been great. On behalf of the entire Simply Cyber community, thank you so much, AJ, for being here. Community, thanks for bringing the heat. Like, definitely great energy, great questions, and great conversation. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. He's AJ on the move. Until next time, everyone, stay secure.